Hi, everybody. The topic I'm going to discuss today is the dangers of abusing opiates and benzodiazepines together or at the same time. Or rather, what are the effects of using benzodiazepine or opiates? If you're new to this channel, I'm Dr. B with Dr. B Addiction Recovery. On this channel, we discuss all things substance abuse. If you like the content, please subscribe and press the like button. And if you're so inclined, we do have a Patreon account, whereas for as little as $3 a month, you can contribute to our endeavor. Let's get started. The question is abusing opiates and benzodiazepines at the same time. What are the dangers? Let me give a little historical perspective on this and how it arose. And this is somewhat anecdotal, but subscribe and press the like button. Far back in the 70s or 80s, when the Patreon were becoming popularized on the East Coast and across the planet. And benzodiazepines were becoming a popular drug for prescription and evolving abuse pattern across the planet. Addicts, at least on the East Coast, sort of found out that once they went in the morning, got their dose of methadone, which is a synthetic agonist opiate, they can walk out and take 10, 15, 25 milligrams of Valium, whatever. And the synergistic effect of the two of these things, an opiate and a benzodiazepine, was even better than the rush they were getting from heroin. At least this was, like I said, from some anecdotal reports. And off this issue went. Over the 70s, 80s, 90s, and coming into today, we very often see polysubstance abuse versus just a certain particular substance. And nowadays it's quite mixed. And as you know, I've been doing a few videos on mixing stimulants and opiates, alcohol and cocaine, and so forth. This particular combination is very common, very popular, and the reasons for it are multiple. Number one, let's look at some of the reasons why an addict might do this. We described one starting as far back as 70s. The euphoria achieved is better than one or the other alone, in particular the opiates alone. And obviously the benzodiazepines sort of take, I guess you can say, any dysphoric edge off of the heroin high and really bring a sedating, calming, peaceful effect to the high. That's one reason. But there's other reasons where people sort of get into this situation other than sort of going for that ultimate high. A person may have already been on benzodiazepines. A person's initial issue could be anxiety, panic attacks, restlessness, and many other reasons why they were already using the benzodiazepines. And the root causes get quite complex. But now that it has sort of become part of the subculture of abuse, it is common. And we want to make this video because it is also very deadly. Why does it make it so deadly, or even more deadly than either one alone? Let's start with the benzodiazepines. Although they don't necessarily have a direct effect on the respiratory centers and the respiratory drive in the brain stem, they do have an extreme sedating effect, and through secondary mechanisms, they can really bring your respiration down where you stop breathing and you don't feel the discomfort from not breathing. That's one of the things that they do. And so, although it takes quite a bit to overdose purely from benzodiazepines alone by themselves, they themselves can cause respiratory depression, asphyxiation from vomiting, and death. Opiates, on the other hand, are known to have as one of their areas where they attack, if you will, directly is the respiratory centers, and there's mu receptors on the respiratory centers. Interestingly, clinically, you will see things like morphine or fentanyl used with people having extreme difficulty breathing and being in end-of-life situations. For example, You might have a lung cancer person who is really towards the end stage of their hours or days, and they have quite a bit of difficulty breathing, even on a respirator. And for whatever reason, the sedation is turned down so they're awake. But to give them a little bit more comfort, morphine is given. And what morphine does, although it does decrease the respiratory center's drive, it also decreases your awareness of the decreased drive, which can be a very scary thing if you think about it for a person that's not in that situation. So keep that in mind. Opiates have a direct attack on the respiratory centers where they decrease drive. Number two, they decrease your perception of the decrease in drive and added comfort. Now, when you add these two medications together, benzodiazepines and opiates, what you have is a synergistic effect on decreased respiratory center function, decrease in breathing, and a very high potential toxic mix for overdose. And the cause of death, or the mechanistic cause of death, would be where you stop breathing. The factors that affect how much and how this happens and how quickly it happens really depends on your age, rate of absorption of the drug, route of ingestion of the drug, intravenous, smoked, inhaled, ingested, the potency of the drug, your tolerance that you build to that drug, your age, and finally what we call your comorbid factors. If someone has COPD, some sort of a lung disease or a pneumonia at that time, or they're morbidly obese where they're going to have decreased ventilation as it is because these little air molecules called alveoli are already pushed down and shut down. All of these things affect how much mixing and how quickly you can actually go down that scale and stop breathing. This in general applies across the board to any and all opiates, whether it's heroin, fentanyl, or prescription opiates, whether it's bought on the street or prescription. And it applies to all benzodiazepines, and you put these things together, and that is what you have. Interestingly, this really brings out a certain question or issue in therapeutics, which we will address shortly in a future video, and that is the prescription of opiates and benzodiazepine. And this becomes sort of a quagmire to deal with in today's environment, which I would like to address. But nevertheless, this drug combination, which is commonly abused out there, is a very dangerous and potent combination to play around with, and it really increases your chance of toxic overdose through the route of respiratory depression. In short, you stop breathing and you're increasing your chance. I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed the content, please go ahead and subscribe and press the like button. If you want to see other related videos, press on the links above to my left. Thank you very much. Have a great day.